politically. I don't know. I mean, there'll always be something politically, but I think the dust is starting to settle in a good way. So we don't have to be as controversial as we have been. But we try to be just positive and common sense. And I think you'll see more of that.
You would think that it's pretty common sense to not get yourself wrapped up in the biggest welfare scandal in your state's history, but that's asking a lot out of disgraced NFL quarterback Brett Favre. Instead, he's celebrating Donald Trump's return to the White House and the rapidly forming kleptocracy that's been kicked into overdrive on his watch.
Last night, that said the supporters of Donald Trump, us, or garbage. I can assure you we're not garbage. How dare he say that?
We'll let you make up your own mind because you should know where we stand already.
It shows that Brett Favre asked the head of a nonprofit handling welfare funds, quote, "If you were to pay me, is there any way that the media could find out where it came from and how much?"
To help recruit a player for his college alma mater, the University of Southern Mississippi, in 2019. The funding in question from a grant program intended for low-income families. The governor responded to Favre's request. Use of these funds is tightly controlled. Any improper use could result in violation of federal law.
In May of 2020, he came out with a report that said that Brett Favre himself had received $1 million in welfare payments to basically under a promotional gig to promote the welfare program. He was aware that this money was coming from the Department of Human Services. He was working with John Davis on pulling down this money. And the way that he spoke about it was really like, I'm trying to save myself some money here. Can y'all please help me out?
State Auditor Shad White led the investigation.
It was a video of Mr. Favre promoting Prevacus's product, which was a nasal spray that was designed to prevent concussions. And my first question was, what does this have to do with welfare money? And the investigator's answer was exactly, what does it have to do with welfare money?
Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStrom Show. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you.
I wanted to at least collect the facts.
Former U.S. Attorney Brad Pygott was hired by the state to find the money.
How is Brett Favre getting money that's supposed to get kids out of poverty?
It's a mystery to us. Here we had tens of millions of dollars sent by the country to do the thing that we need done the most, and it was squandered.
In July, he issued a subpoena to get more answers about that volleyball arena, including any communications between the university and former Governor Phil Bryant.
What happened to you after you filed your subpoena?
I was terminated.
Check out my extensive coverage of Brett Favre's involvement in the bombshell Mississippi welfare scandal if you want to learn more about the details and forces at play. Surprisingly enough, Favre isn't back in the news because of an update from this, but rather for some recent comments he made in support of this clown.
She doesn't have the intellect, the stamina, or that special quality that real leaders, people like Brett Favre have. They don't have it. They don't have what he's got. Few people do, to be honest with you. Joe Biden.
In reaction to Trump and his lapdog JD Vance berating and disrespecting President Zelenskyy in the Oval Office in front of the entire world, while cutting a perfect piece of propaganda for Putin in the process, Favre, of course, couldn't get enough of the public humiliation, as did Hall of Fame college football coach and former ESPN analyst Lou Holtz, who quoted Favre's tweet and parroted the same BS America First talking point while lauding the so-called leadership from Trump and Vance for bullying an ally of ours who are currently fighting a defensive war. If you think that destroying the minuscule amount of goodwill we have left with the rest of the world and ruining the reputations of hundreds of millions of American citizens in acting in an America First way, then we don't know what to tell you. But as we've seen, Favre is not someone to look to for thoughtful and accurate political takes.
And I think there's there's some good in that, in being quiet, but there's also that element of standing up for what you believe in. And it's crazy because most of it's common sense. And to think that we're having a discussion that our president has to sign a bill to keep men out of women's sports is absolutely insane.
Like his fellow MAGA buffoons, Favre has fallen for the manufactured panic surrounding trans athletes, turning a complete non-issue into a galvanizing force for Trump's base of support. Though, in case you weren't aware,
how many athletes are there in the United States in NCAA schools?
510,000.
How many transgender athletes are you aware of?
Less than 10.
Less than 10
Yep.
out of 510,000?
Yep.
510,000 athletes, 10 transgender athletes nationwide?
Or less.
NCAA President Charlie Baker, who is by no stretch of the imagination some radical lefty, deeply committed to social justice and equity both inside and outside of the organization, spelled it out clear as day that the entire conversation is being blown out of proportion and wielded solely for political gain. As they say, birds of a feather. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.